Here we are in section 1-2 with the solutions to numbers 18 through 34. 18, it says perform the indicated operation by hand first. So we'll do that here, and then you can check your answers with your calculator. And we would encourage you to do that to make sure that you have the negatives down with multiplication and division with your calculator. Number 18, this is 5 times 3 is 15 with a negative on it. Indeed. Number 19, 3 times negative 11, that's 33 with one negative on it. Negative 42 divided by 6. 42 divided by 6 is 7, but there's one negative. And yes, this is all negative times a positive. Positive times a negative. Negative divided by a positive is all, there's exactly one negative going on. This is negative 28 divided by negative 7. It does something different. We have a negative divided by a negative. So it's 28 divided by 7 is 4. And there are two negatives. And the two negatives make a positive. And so that's where the two negatives make a positive. So the answer is a positive 4. Here we have 6 times 4 is 24. And then the negatives out front. The next one, negative 16 divided by negative 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And it has one negative, two negatives like that. And those two cancel each other out. And we get a positive 8. Here we have a negative 7 times a negative 3. So that would be 21 with a negative and a negative. That's a positive. So 21 times a negative 1. 21 times 1 is 21, and it has a negative. Notice that's the same thing if we just times 7 times 3 times 1 is 21, and then we had 3 negatives out there. 2 of them would go together to make a positive. All right, number 25. A little bit different here. It says 6 minus 5 times negative 9.7. So let's do this multiplication first. 5 times 9.7. 5 times 7, 3, 45, 48. 48.5. And that is a negative. 5 times that, that's a negative because that was a negative 9.7. So we have 6 minus a negative 48.5. And minus a minus, yep, you got it. That's a plus. That becomes 54.5. There we go. Let's put that point in there a little bit more. Notice you could have also done negative 5 times negative 9.7 and gotten a positive 48.5. And 6 and a positive 48.5 will get you to the exact same answer. All right, number 28. Negative 8 times negative 6. So 8 times 6 is 48. And we have this negative, we have that negative, and we have that negative. 3 negatives, 2 of them counter each other, make a positive. So we're left with negative 48. All right, 27. This is a multiplication problem. Negative 5/8 times negative 1/3. Multiplication of fractions goes straight across. So we get 5 24ths, and we have 1, 2 negatives, so negative times negative, that's where it makes it a positive. All right, number 28, 7/40 divided by negative 3/10. That's the same as 7/40 times negative 3/10, negative 10/3. So the reciprocal, and that's a negative. So this is 70 over 120, and there is one negative. So this is a negative 70 over 120. Does that simplify? Yes. Divide top and bottom by 10, and we get negative 7/12. Number 29, negative 5/44 divided by, which means we're timesing by the reciprocal, negative 4 over 1. So you could do negative 5 times negative 4 is a positive 20 over 44. Notice that's 2 negatives that made a positive there. And that is, we can divide by 4. We can divide by 4, 4/11. Now notice what happens here. We could have canceled right here, those 4s, left a 1 and an 11 there. Just like over here, we could have canceled the 10 and left a 1 and a 4. Either way, we'll get to the same answer, and it'll be all right. All right, number 30, 0 divided by 7 is the number 0. That's the one that works just fine. And you could go backwards. 0 times 7 equals 0. and it works. Negative 13 divided by 0, nope. Officially, it's called undefined. If you tried doing negative 13 divided by 0 equals 0, you would have to say that 0 times 0 equals 13, and that's where it breaks down really bad. 15 divided by 0. Go ahead and try it in your calculator. This is the nope, undefined. You cannot do it. Undefined is the official answer for that. We cannot divide by 0. Here is 0 over 296, and yes, that's perfectly fine. It equals a 0. Going backwards, you can see that 0 times 296 does indeed equal 0. So the multiplication going backwards makes sense, and you can stick that in your calculator and see that it gets a 0. Great. Number 34. Read some of the next section, 1.3, and then simplify this. Well, 2x's plus 4x's. Way back when we did addition, we learned that we had to add like things, like 2 apples and 3 apples. Well, here we have 2x's and 4x's. That just makes 6x's. And that's it. This is going to be called combining like terms. That's pretty handy. Notice that here we have 3 yaks and 8 yaks. That's 11 yaks. And then 8 minus 4, those are just numbers. So that's just the number 4. 4 plus 11 yaks, yellowbirds, whatever they're called there. Good, that should prepare your mind for what we're going to learn next.